All right, it's currently 2:30 in the morning. I've been meaning to make this video for a couple days, and I'm finally making it. Today we are covering Depop dropshipping in depth, teaching you how to do it completely free. In this video, I'm going to be covering the exact strategies that allowed me to buy my second Rolex in my 20s completely by myself. I'm going to show you how to source, how to optimize, how to start, and how to scale. If you'd like to keep seeing content like this is my first real video. I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, because I'm going to be making many more of the same type of videos with even additional topics. Now, if you've been on the internet for any amount of time and you've done any research, I'm sure you've heard of a thing called dropshipping. It's where you sell a product that you don't have in hand, and it's usually fulfilled by a Chinese supplier. Well, Depop is virtually the same thing, but it's different because with most dropshipping, you're driving your own traffic, you're driving your own sales, which costs ad money or making extremely good organic content. Now, the difference with Depop dropshipping is that they already push your content for you, and they even have a built-in boost feature that only takes a cut once you make a sale. So you only owe the 8% boost fee if you've actually sold an item. So it has no upfront cost. They drive your organic traffic. They want to make money off you selling a lot of items. So they're pushing your content for you, which is in the dropshipping space very few and far between. There's not many different platforms that allow you to get your traffic organically without having to make content, because if you're making Instagram videos or TikTok videos or even YouTube shorts about viral content, the viral ice cream maker or the viral the last toothbrush you'll ever need, or even the earwax cleaner. That's a super big one. I've actually used it myself. I do like it, can't lie. But with those things, it's extremely competitive space, and getting one of those viral videos, you can make extremely good content, but it still comes down to luck. So with Depop dropshipping, they're driving your traffic for you. They want you to sell, and they're getting you all your leads, and they're warm leads because Depop is full of buyers looking to spend money. It's suggesting the items that you're selling to the potential buyer that is interested in that things. If you're selling like Y2K type items, they're not going to show it to someone that's buying, Ralph Lauren polos or business attire. They're going to show it to people that are buying Y2K or liking Y2K or only viewing Y2K items. So it's warm leads, it's warm traffic, and it's done for you, which is amazing, and no upfront. Now, before I keep yapping, let me show you real results firsthand from me, so you know that I'm not talking out of my butt and I actually know what I'm talking about. All right, we're on the computer now, and I'm going to show you guys my firsthand results, just to show you that I know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so we're on my Depop. I'm going to hide by name. I don't want to give out too much of my personal store, but I'm not going to gatekeep any of the actual methods I applied, because this is a completely free video and I'm teaching you for free. So go to my stats. All right, you can see my stat page right here. My 3-month history is $27,536.67, and I'm actually down 10% from my previous 3 months. And I'm going to refresh, and you can see that this is not fudged. All right, moving on. I want to first address sourcing. That's the most important thing. And sourcing, 100% use AliExpress. You can use Alibaba, but I would only recommend that if you are scaled further and you're looking to actually wholesale a product in hand. So if you have a product that's really winning and you're like, hey, I want to get 300 of this product and have it in hand, then you're going to be shipping, and your shipment times are going to be like 2 to 4 days on average in the US for most places. And that'd be you shipping on hand. And I wouldn't recommend that if you're not selling at least 20 to 30 sales a week of that item, of the same item. If you're not doing around 100 a month of that one item, I would not recommend looking to wholesale. But if you find a winning product and you are doing, that 80 to 100 minimum mark monthly, then I would 100% recommend, getting 200 to 300 of that product, taking even better photos when it arrives, making multiple listings of that same item in different lighting and different staging settings. And these are, a little bit more advanced things, so I'm not going to cover them in this video. But I will make an advanced video in the future if there's anyone here that would like an advanced video that's already doing Depop, significant amount of sales, and they would like to cover scaling further. I had someone ask me in one of my shorts the other day what my seller ranking was, my world ranking, and I have not been under top 1,000 since November. So I'm doing something right, and I would really like to share that with y'all and allow you the opportunity to, also make some extra income. This is just a side hustle for me. But yeah, I mean, for someone it could be their full-time thing, and you can probably even do it better than me. So, we're going to cover sourcing first, and we're starting on AliExpress, as I already stated, and we're going to go in the jewelry category. Now, this is one of the top categories for AliExpress because there's lots of items that are unisex and, one size fits all items, because with shirts or jackets or pants, you've got 3, 4, 5 different sizes, and not everything is unisex. But with jewelry, there's pendants, there's bracelets, and there's even like rings and earrings. Now, rings and earrings, rings are multi-size. Earrings are one size fits all. Typically, the earring demographic is women. Men do wear earrings, but when you go with bracelets and necklaces, it's really hard to find an item that is not, unisex. And unisex items and one size fits all items are my top recommendation. But if we just start like with men's bracelets, with what they call men, you can see a lot of these are more masculine, and most females are not wearing very many of these. Now, when you have something simple like this, just a CZ stone bracelet, that is 100% unisex. But the rest here are mostly, I would say, male only. This, I guess, either blue or pink, male or female, whatever. But so we're not going to go to that category. We're going to go to pendants, which is right there at the top. Look right past it. All right, so you can see some of these. Definitely unisex. Definitely unisex. This is, an exclusivity thing, but it is extremely easy to fulfill. The only problem is there are so many letters. So that wouldn't be a good one unless you had wholesale in hand. And even then, it's just, you don't want to deal with that. Now, something like this as well, you can target a seasonal activity. When I say activity, I mean holiday. Mother's Day's coming up, and this is the kind of item that would sell really good around Mother's Day and maybe around Valentine's or even Christmas. But past those 3, this is probably not selling super well the rest of the year. I've already addressed it in a few of my shorts, but whatever item you decide you would like to pick, it needs to have customer reviews, because you cannot post the generic photos that you see on the product like these, because Depop will take them down. So when you use these customer photos, they're real photos, they're in hand, and Depop will not take them down. Like, this is pretty good. Besides the fact that it doesn't show, we want this card to show. So I would combine this one right here with this one. Those two together, excellent photos. The table's a little crummy. I'd crop it right under the thumb or about halfway up the thumb, and maybe try to get AI to touch up this white table and make it a little bit cleaner. Wouldn't worry too much. You could go like this and then the other one, but we do want to show that card, and this picture is crummy. This picture is pretty good. I'd probably go with these two. I'd go this one and then even throw this one in with that other one I showed you, with this one. But that's just an example. This product's $5. I would say you could easily fulfill this product at $15, honestly, with free shipping, or you charge them a couple bucks, go $12, charge $5 for shipping. There's one pricing strategy you can do on Depop It only works if you're in the US for ship on your own. You can charge a selling fee or a shipping fee, excuse me. And the shipping fee, you can upcharge a couple dollars to make the margin increase on the product price. So if you had a product you wanted to sell for $10 and you're like, oh, I want to sell for $10, I want to sell it for $8, and then I'm going to add, the shipping is actually $2, then you'd make the shipping $4, and they're paying $2 to cover the shipping and then $2 to bring the product price from 8 to 10. Some people don't like pricing strategies like that, but when you have, just a couple bucks, if you're not charging $20 shipping, it's not very apparent what you're doing, and no one really knows, and they don't feel like they're being overcharged. So yeah, that's a good route to go. Let's see, let's find another item that I would off the bat. See, this is a really popular thing right here. This is all over Depop, super saturated. If you look on jewelry, you're like, oh my gosh, it's everywhere. Definitely would not go with a product like this as the market's too competitive. And a lot of these guys have this in hand wholesale. They wholesale from AliExpress, they wholesale from Alibaba, but they have it in hand, and you're gonna get beat out because these are sellers that have thousands of reviews. They're fulfilling from the US, so those are not good products. We do not want to do those products. But yeah, so we're gonna jump to the we're gonna jump to the fourth page. We're just looking for something that is cool but not super saturated. But we do need a couple of reviews. That's the one discrepancy, is that if we don't have any reviews on even if it's a unique product, I'm gonna need to get it in hand and take my own photos, which is not an issue because you can order one of the product, wait a week and get it yourself and do your photos, but you do have that week downtime to start. And with other products, you can start immediately. And yet again, there's no upfront cost. Depop doesn't have a membership fee. Depop is not charging you anything. You're not driving ads, you're not running campaigns. So something like this is a choker, it says, and it looks like we do have a couple all right photos. This one right here is pretty good, and it's on neck. They just need to know it's a real person. This one is right here. It's excellent. This is an amazing photo. You could do this with that photo. If we're paying $4 for that and shipping $3, we're at $7 all in. Depop charges you if you're boosted, it's around 13% total, just under 14%. If you're not boosted, it's I think all in after payment processing, I think it's 4.7%, I believe, of the sale. So if you sold it for $10, right away they're gonna take 47 cents off your 10, and then you have your product cost of $7. So you'd be down to a $3 margin minus your 47 cents. You'd be pulling $2.53, and that's not enough of a margin, obviously. So on an item like that, we're looking to make at least like $8 a sale, $7 a sale. And if you're doing extreme volume, it doesn't matter, but it gets very tedious fulfilling your orders one by one to make, $3, $4, $5 a sale. That's kind of stinky, and you're devoting a significant amount of time. So now I will say, similar to normal drop shipping, the one thing with Depop drop shipping is that it comes down to you to find a good item. I can show you how to set everything up. I can show you pricing strategies. I can tell you that you need to use customer review images instead of stock images to not get taken down. I can tell you all of that, but finding a good item comes down to you. I can't quite go that far and assist you one-on-one like that and find your product for you and all that. I don't have the time for that. I can show you the blueprint, but you need to apply it, and just know that if this is something that you try and you fail, you're not putting money on the line, so you have nothing to lose, just your time. And if you're spending time already looking for ways to make money online, then losing some time isn't a big deal. But you can 100% succeed with my strategies. You just need to have the blueprint, which I'm providing, and you need to find a good item. Now, that could take a couple days, devoting some time here and there. Spend an hour or two a day for 3-4 days to find a good product, or several. You can start off with 5, you can start off with 10, it doesn't matter. You can have 30, 40 items on your Depop. That's fine. There's no limit. But coming down to you finding a good product, okay? So you got to devote some time, you have to do some research, and you have to find items you think that are a good fit. Now, if you wanted to be a niche store, you could target religious items. Let's say you're a Christian, you could do all Christian crosses and Christian bracelets and Christian rings and, things like that, maybe even Christian t-shirts, but yeah, you could be niche. You don't have to be broad, you don't have to be vague. I wouldn't say post 30 different styles of jewelry. I would say stick with a general, like if you're doing grunge jewelry, like punk kind of stuff, stick with that, kind of have at least a little bit of idea of what the customer is going to be looking at when they come to your page. They're not like, oh, he's got this flaming cool necklace, and then over here he's got this religious bracelet. It's just build a niche and make it make sense. Simple as that. Now, like I said, when you're picking your item, it has to have customer reviews, and if it doesn't, you need to actually get that item yourself, order out of pocket, get it to your house, and take good photos with good staging. If you have a light box from Amazon, they're fairly cheap. I want to say, $15. I have one myself. You can use that to take photos for staging, or you can just take one in your kitchen. You can take one on neck. You can take one, on a granite countertop, on a wood floor. There's a lot of ways you can do it. Even in the grass in the summer, that's a good photo. I see a lot of clothes of like vintage resellers. They do them in the grass, or they do them on concrete, like in the garage or the driveway. And they look good, basic, minimal backgrounds. You don't want a lot of busy background going on. You want it quiet, you want it simple, and you want it appeasing and appealing to the customer. You want them to look at it and go, oh, I want that. And it doesn't give me a dirty vibe. It doesn't give me a used, gross vibe, Yeah, so that's that. Now, once you found the item that you actually like, you need to make a clean, concise description. You can use ChatGPT if you'd like to help you with this if you're not good at copywriting. Super simple though, don't make it over the top. Use some trendy keywords, some buzzwords, so if someone's searching, your listing's gonna come up. I'd recommend using the boost listing thing that Depop has built in to start. If you get really good traction over time, you can take it off. If you start getting tens of 50s of hundreds of reviews, once you start to build your page and people see and trust, you're going to already be driving a lot of organic traffic. So use buzzwords, use the boost listing. I would say set a higher price to start and then run constant 2-day discounts. There are 48-hour discounts. Drop it a couple $, to your actual ideal price. Leave a couple $, of negotiation, even like $2 on a $15 item, maybe. There's a small margin of negotiation, but running those constant 48-hour discounts makes the buyer feel like they're already getting a good deal, and most of the time they're not going to sit there and lowball you even lower, which is what we don't want. As I said in one of my other shorts as well, when you are picking your item, look at the item fulfillment time and make sure that it's being fulfilled on average in 7 days or less. We don't want buyers waiting 2 to 3 weeks, because they're going to realize they're being drop shipped and they're not going to be happy about it, because Depop is typically meant, when you're in the US at least, for US to US buyers and sellers. Typically pre-owned items, new items are fine as well, but it's not being drop shipped. It's not coming from China. That is not what most of them want. And if we're fulfilling in 7 or less days on average, not a big deal. There's a lot of sellers that literally take 7 days just to ship because they don't care and they're really slow. So not a big deal if you're doing 7 or less, but don't get the 2 to 3 week suppliers. They are not good. Once you've got a product that's selling really well, 100% switch to self-fulfillment. Invest a couple $100, invest $100. Your fulfillment time is going to go to 2 to 4 days. That's amazing. That's what we like. Any buyer that you sell to, as long as they're not complaining or they don't have any issues, make sure to follow up with them and ask them to leave you a review and tell them you'll do the same. Hey, you're a great buyer. I'd appreciate if you'd give me a review. It really helps me build my selling page. I'll make sure to give you a buyer review as well, so sellers know you're a good buyer to work with, and any future business, whatever, yada yada, is very welcome. Something simple. Make sure to include that you're going to review them back, so they take the time to review you, because if they don't think you're going to review them back, the chance of them reviewing you is a lot lower, because most people don't go out of their way to leave reviews. Simple as that. In terms of scaling, the main point of Depop dropship scaling just applies to wholesaling, as in getting 50, 100, 200 of that item that's selling well and fulfilling yourself. If you do have an item that is selling really well and you want to scale even further, you could go off Depop. You could start selling on Shopify. You could start selling on TikTok Shop. You could start selling on Instagram, running ads, making organic content, and actually looking to build a bigger brand off that. But just starting out, Depop, super easy to get into, no fees, no ad campaigns, no money out of pocket. I'd highly recommend it. It's a great way to make some side income. Even if you're not making quite as much as I am doing it, you can still make a lot of extra money, and it's super easy and simple to get started. I'm going to keep making other YouTube videos following up on optimization and other strategies with Depop dropshipping. I've got a couple other few money, side hustle type related things coming out pretty soon. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more no fluff, financial, side hustle type content, and I'm giving it all away for free. I can't speak. All right, that's a wrap. It's 3:16 in the morning. Time for me to go to bed. I appreciate any likes, any subscriptions. Drop all questions in the comments. I got more videos coming out soon, and peace.